Oh, this is my favorite. We'll do this one.
Sheesh. You a storyteller. Man, this chopper get to screaming and do more than yelling. Fully automatic. I don't even know these niggas there sparking traffic. You with all the acting. So we gonna do the Twitter beef, typing on the
R.I.P. Draco. This is MMA Homie Podcast.
my life now.
UFC
5 on my wrist. They got life now.
313.
That's a nice crowd. Better take
Analysis breakdown with Iamsaturday. What's up, homeboy?
My guy. Very appreciative of the invite.
Hey,
What's going
hey,
on? How are you?
long overdue.
Long overdue. Cool getting to know you before
Yeah,
before we started recording. Kind of like a long time coming in the we've
yeah.
been chopping it up in the DMs for a minute and
I heard
just
you like
love
UFC shit.
dude. Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I
you
heard.
could say
Hey, word
that.
on the
Yeah.
street, bro. Word on the street. Hey, fuck
Yeah,
with
definitely.
Saturdays. Fridays, he might be
100%.
off a little tilt, but you get him on a Saturday, homie's in
That's
some
it.
shit.
That's it, man. That's my butter zone, I guess is what you could say. I love Saturday. I live for that, dude. I prep like all week, every week for the upcoming UFC card.
Yeah,
So it's just like
you're a real
Saturday
life
is
degenerate. Yeah, yeah, I get
yeah, definitely. Well, yeah,
it.
definitely.
No, that's dope. So yeah, let's jump into this UFC 313 Ankalaev versus Jama Alex Pereira. I mean, just off top, I know we said we weren't going to do a lot of we're going to do any research, so just share with me what you got off top.
Yeah, great fight. I mean, first off, like the first thing that comes to mind, Dan Hooker sucks, dude. Like out of the fight, broken
Yeah.
paw. I'm hearing Gamrot is throwing his name in the mix right now. So what's today's date actually? As I look at this, it's the
But we're what, week and
26th.
a half away. It's not
So
this
yeah,
weekend, but next weekend. So
yeah.
we're
So we're
it's right
we're
there.
like 10 days out. So someone in lightweight, I've heard Fiziev or Fiziev or however you say his name, has thrown his name in
Mhm.
the hat, Gamrot. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, obviously, when I think of the call it the UFC tenure, the UFC run of Alex Pereira, especially at light heavyweight, I kind of really don't necessarily define him as like champ until he beats Magomed Ankalaev. I think Ankalaev has kind of been the uncrowned champ for a long time, and Alex Perez has done some incredible things in the sport. He's looked great at light heavyweight, but I think Ankalaev has kind of been stiffed a little bit in terms of title shots. So I'm happy this fight is kind of finally come to fruition, and we got a good matchup.
Well, and this is gonna either quiet all the doubters, cement his
Myself,
legacy,
yeah, exactly. It'll quiet
cement his.
people like me.
But here's my thing, and here's the question too that I'll preface for you. Do you really think it's gonna go to the ground?
So yeah, that's a really good question actually because I
Because
think
that's
that's the
what
question
everybody's
mark.
saying is his
Yeah, that's
Achilles
that's the
heel,
question
right?
mark here, right? It's like can Alex Pereira deal with the ground game of Ankalaev? If I'm Ankalaev and I'm in a title shot, like I would be. This is actually one of my biggest pet peeves, especially as a handicapper. It's like when fighters don't utilize like a clear path to victory. I just
Hmm.
find it so infuriating. And if you're in a title fight against call it the face of the promotion right now, because that's what I believe Alex Pereira is. I think
Becoming a legend. He's becoming a
I think
goat.
he's a legend. I think he's one of the most marketable fighters that's on the UFC roster right now. And when you have an opportunity to take what he has, give and his take his platform, I think Ankalaev would be dumb not to grapple. But that being said, a lot fighters get to where they're at because they have a lot of pride and self belief, and
Hmm.
so I could see it being a stand up match if I'm in the corner of Ankalaev. I'm telling him to shoot a takedown in the fucking first 10 seconds, dude. Like
Here's my thing too. I mean, if you go back and you look at Ankalaev's last like 4 or 5 fights, he's not taking people
at
down.
all,
He's
at
standing
all.
with them.
You
So
know, yeah,
that's where I was confused. Is like, why are so many people okay? If that's his Achilles heel, right? I truly don't believe Ankalaev's going for the takedown.
yeah. And the only reason he went for the takedown in the Blachowicz fight was because his legs were chopped up, right? So that gives me a little bit of a cause for concern because Alex Pereira, as we know, is incredible at leg kicks and he
Right.
hides them extremely well. So if Ankalaev was susceptible to the leg kicks of Jan Blachowicz, what is Alex Pereira going to do to him? And I think Ankalaev kind of has that in the back of his mind, and he'll if he's a smart fighter, which he is, he wouldn't have what is it, a 20-1 record if he didn't. If he wasn't a smart fighter, I do think that yes, the long the long answer long, I would say at some point this fight hits the ground unless unless Alex Pereira starts as the dude in the first round, which is a very real possibility. We've seen it, you know.
Well, let's even take a look back of his last fight versus Roundtree. It went 4 rounds, right? When he just fucking put the final finishes on Roundtree. And I thought that answered a question for me is like, can he go past the 3rd round? Can he go into deep waters if he gets tested? And then he turned on another level and just, I mean, fucking fucked Roundtree up in that
It
fourth
was
round.
crazy. Yeah.
It was
Yeah. There was a
crazy.
time in that fight. I actually did, you know, obviously don't have the scorecards in front of me, but I think Roundtree actually took home rounds
It,
1 and 2 on
it
all
could have
three
been
sets of
2-1
scorecards.
going into
Yeah.
that fourth.
Yeah.
It could have, and maybe
Um,
it wasn't, but it could have.
Yeah, and we've seen, you know, we've seen Pereira come back in fights. Obviously, he had the knockout late in the first Adesanya fight. But that, I mean, that was a different beast. The guy turned it on. Like he had his best round. You could argue he had his best rounds in round 3 and 4. So it was like it was, man, he
That's what champions
fucked
do.
up. Fucked up. Cleo Roundtree Jr. is a really good way of saying it. With all due respect to Roundtree, he was actually when he I don't know how long you've been watching the sport, man, but when he made the adjustment, he went over to Thailand, and when he came back, he made some serious adjustments in the striking, and it was just awesome to see his career progression because he was such a vicious and violent guy beforehand, but he really dialed that in and dialed
Hmm.
in the Muay Thai and turned into a title contender, which is so awesome to see. Also seems like to be, you know, one of the most genuine dudes in the sport, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, big time. And it was interesting too. Roundtree was the guy who was like, I'm not going to take him down. I'm going to give him the fans what they want. And
Yeah,
he
which
did.
is dope. Which is dope. You got to respect it.
And it's interesting what you said too, like for fighters not to use something to their advantage because you kind of are almost getting in this pissing match, I guess you could say. A good example, and my co-host always talks about this, is Aljo versus Sean O'Malley.
Yeah,
Aljo was getting criticized so much for taking people down that he decided to say, you know what, I'm going to have a different game plan and give the people what they want versus Sean O'Malley. And what happened?
starched. I was at the fight,
And
man.
oh, okay, so
Yeah, it was in Boston. It was in
and
Boston.
that's
It was like,
and you lose your belt.
yeah.
He could have made it a boring fight and done what Marab did.
Easily, easily. I think he could have done it more convincingly than Marab. I think Marab's a little undersized for bantamweight, and I think Aljo. I mean, look, Aljo immediately moved up directly
Mhm.
afterwards, and the dude looks oversized for 45. The guy's shredded out of his mind. I think he could have um, easily taken Sean O'Malley down and done whatever he
Yeah.
wanted with him. But the fact of the matter is, he didn't. He stayed on the
And that's
feet.
what happens,
Also,
right?
O'Malley had an injured back the entire, which they obviously, the Ray Long or the Longo camp didn't really know about until after the fight. But looking back, that's got to be salt in the wound, knowing that O'Malley probably didn't have the best takedown defense going into the matchup. So
And you in you like you said earlier, you lose everything, you chanced it, and the chance didn't it just you paid the
yeah,
ultimate price. You paid the ultimate price. So this is
good way of
interesting.
saying
So
it.
who do you got?
In
It
in
sounds
the
like you
main
got
event,
Ankalaev. No, it sounds like you got
yeah, yeah, I got
you.
Ankalaev. Yeah. Yeah, I got Ankalaev. Like, listen, I don't want to give out any official plays yet. I
Damn,
mean,
son.
no, hit that one more time. Hit it one more time. I
He
like
said
it.
Ankalaev.
Yeah, no, dude. Like, I think, man, I did. There's a lot of variables that I was on. I don't know if you watch Anakin Florian at all. I was on the
Mhm.
podcast last week with Big Gun Brian Petrie, and we were kind of talking about the
I
method
saw
to
that.
my
Saw that.
madness when it comes to choosing fighters, and a lot of the fighters that I chose in 2024 were just guys that were hot, guys that were on win streaks, and it's hard to argue against the win streak of Alex Pereira right now, but man, Ankalaev is like he's been a mainstay in the division for a long time in that top 3, 4, range for a reason. And I think he brings a different skill set compared to the guys that Alex Pereira has beaten so far at light heavyweight. And more specifically, a skill set that offers a serious problem on the ground. So why? Who do you like?
Oh, I'm taking Jama all day.
Woo!
I'm taking second round KO head
I
kick.
love that. Yeah, no, I
Head
love that.
kick.
Like, yeah, dude. I think and let me be evidently clear. I would never throw my nuts on this fight. Like, it's too close, right?
Yeah.
This is like a gun to my head. Had to choose, type of scenario. And I mean, Ankalaev is just, yeah, man. The one thing that does concern, I just brought this up and I kind of went on a tangent about it. The one thing that does concern me was how susceptible he was to the leg kick, and it's one of Alex Pereira's strong suits. So it's like I think if there's a path to victory here for Pereira, it's eat up the leg and
You,
then yeah, go for the kill shot
you
at
know what
some
I
point.
think too
You got to impair the mobility
about
of the
Pieta is
flyweight.
that it looks like in just some of his training videos, he is taking the grappling and ground game a lot more serious in his career. And I think that's probably the like he has tools in his belt, right? And that is still kind of empty. He doesn't have that in there yet to pull out, but I think it's getting better and better. And I said this to see if he does, Ankalaev does do a takedown and he sprawls and he starts defending takedown. If you see that in the second round or first and second round, he's defending takedowns. Watch out. Watch out.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about, Pereira not having to cut this weight anymore too. Number one, he looks way healthier, at light heavyweight. He's probably harder to take down being, he's just heavier, which is not enough can be said about that. But then let's also tap on the fact that he's being trained by Glover Teixeira, who's also a former light heavyweight champion in the same division,
Black
right? They're in the
belt,
same
right?
division.
Black belt.
They know, they know how to deal with the heavier guys, and when you have a guy like Glover in your corner, and it's weird that you say that you see
That's a good guy to
put
have,
a lot
right?
of
Hey,
yeah,
that's a good guy to have.
it's a good guy to have, but it's also, it's weird that you bring up that you're seeing a lot of like grappling footage of Prayer, because every time I see him, he's like boxing like heavyweight boxers and stuff. I'm like, dude, fucking stuff. Your striking is already perfect.
Yeah.
You're already one of the greatest strikers in UFC history. Stop practicing. Like if I'm in the camp of Alex Pereira, I tell him to do nothing but grapple for the remainder of his MMA career.
100%. Did you see the video with Cal Berhalo when he was grappling with him?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that.
I'm gonna
But
tag you like before.
Baralho's making his round because he was just making his rounds because he was just training with Strickland too, which I found stupid. It's like for sure there's a very good possibility that Strickland and Baralho end up in a fight like next. So it's like why are you training with this guy, giving him the opportunity to,
Yeah, but
figure
some
out.
guys will look at it like I'm gonna see you anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. Which is like, again, fighters, different breed, man. I'm not
Different
them.
breed, 100%.
They're successful for a reason. Who
All right.
who the fuck am I to say?
So you got Ankalaev, I got Pieta, I got second round KO. And this is what I'll say too. Alex Pieta, all his fights always end with a finish.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna
You're
get
not
our
wrong.
money's worth right here. I love
Yeah.
that. I'll never miss Alex Pieta fight. Going into